What we're seeing today is that you need longer and longer durations of that energy storage because peak energy demand is just continuing to rise and rise and rise.
Christina Belcito is an accomplished business executive. She's the Vice President of Corporate Affairs at Fourth Power, a climate technology company developing next-generation energy storage solutions to support a clean, reliable energy future.
The reality is, around the world, regardless of the sort of political atmosphere that we're in, wind and solar renewable energy assets are the cheapest form of new electrons getting on the grid. The issue, though, is of course they're not reliable, right? The sun isn't always shining, the wind isn't always blowing.
What, in your experience, are some of the things you've learned about structuring partnerships that would actually help accelerate deployment in this space?
How do you hold the line between the urgency climate demands and the patience that infrastructure actually requires? Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the Sustainability and Climate Podcast. As usual, I'm being joined by the one and only Labake. Hello, Labake. How are you doing today?
Hi, Toby. Hi, Toby. I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Well,
It's a new month.
yeah?
It's we're almost halfway through the year.
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. How are
Awesome.
you doing? How's life?
Well, life is lively. Busy as always.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on at the moment, but yeah, I'm taking my time. At the time of this recording, guys, it's a bank holiday in UK, so I'm resting. I'm sure Labake cannot say the same.
I had my bank holiday on Friday.
Exactly, but yeah, I'm enjoying mine today. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
Resting, even though it's a bank holiday, I've been busy. Because I'm turning up tonight for a friend who is turning 40. Shout out to you. So yeah, after this recording, I'm going to just book it down, you know?
I just want to say, guys,
Yeah.
Toby's just revealed something. So we've had over the 3 years that we've been doing this podcast, we've had a number of, conversations, debates, arguments about whether Toby's a millennial. Or
I did to myself well by really this. But again, I can be a friend to someone way older than me, you know?
No.
Don't we have those
Toby's
friends
Toby's just revealed his age bracket.
Nice one. Okay, you win. But yeah, I'm looking forward to
Happy birthday to
celebrating
them.
with him. So yeah, looking forward to that. But how have you been? How's
That's nice.
our initiative going?
I'm good. Life has been good. So in the
Yeah.
last episode, if you are a frequent listener
Yeah.
and an OG, sorry, dancing, you know that Toby outed me that I have an announcement. Well, the
Yes.
announcement is it's my wedding in a couple of weeks.
Guys, no. She didn't do it to us. So if you remember, I think last year,
Yes.
I made a post that I said Labake had an announcement for us, but she said no announcement, and she denied it, right? How have you been, Labake?
Why did you say it like that? Like I have some big news to share.
I'm just asking. And last episode rather, I had to force her to announce the news to you guys. So what Labake is trying to say is that last year she got engaged or she got proposed to and she accepted. And this year, in the next couple of weeks, we're shutting down Lagos.
We're having a wedding.
The one and only Labake is getting married to the love of her life, like they always say, to their best friend, my best friend. And so congratulations, Labake. And that is the news, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Labake Ajiboye Richards is getting married.
Full government name. I love it. Yes.
I'm really happy for it. And so, as always, I'll go and represent you guys well, you know?
Yes.
So you guys I will do the Lagos party. Yeah.
I will do it in Lagos, yeah? Yes. I'm really excited. I'm excited. Thank you for making me confess. Yes, but I'm really excited. It's been a really busy season up until this point, but great things are happening. Yeah.
All right. So, no long talk. We have a guest on the podcast today. It's been a long time we did the host conversations, because we've been having back to back, and we still have back to back guests. But hey, we are not complaining because we are really honored to have the incredible guests that have come on the podcast to share their knowledge, their wisdom with us. And so we are excited. We're not complaining. And so, yes, we have an interesting guest on the podcast who's doing an amazing work. So I'm sure you guys will enjoy this conversation, and we'll be back.
Cristina Belcito is an accomplished business executive and a strategic leader focused on scaling breakthrough technologies, driving corporate development, and building the partnerships and capital needed to bring climate innovation to market. She's the Vice President of Corporate Affairs at Fourth Power, a climate technology company developing next-generation energy storage solutions to support a clean, reliable energy future. Prior to joining Fourth Power, she led business development at agri-tech companies. Her background spans climate technology, finance, and global business strategy, and she's raised over $75 million in venture capital. She's worked across international markets, including roles in Shanghai, Mexico City, and began her career helping companies expand and grow globally. She holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and brings a unique perspective on what it takes to move climate solutions from innovation to real-world impact.
So thank you so much for joining us, Christina. Really looking forward to our conversation. I think the first question I had for you was around energy storage, right? We've made enormous progress in renewable energy generation, but energy storage is increasingly becoming a critical bottleneck. How do you think about the role of long duration energy storage in unlocking the next phase of the energy transition?
Yeah, so long duration energy storage is crucial in unlocking the next phase of the transition. The reality is, around the world, regardless of the sort of political atmosphere that we're in, wind and solar renewable energy assets are the cheapest form of new electrons getting on the grid. The issue, though, is of course they're not reliable, right? The sun isn't always shining, the wind isn't always blowing. And so what that means is that grid operators have a really difficult choice to make, right? Grid operators' number one job is to operate a really reliable grid. And so the way that they measure the resources that are actually generating electricity is with a metric called ELCC. It's the effective load carrying capability. And you can think of that metric as something like how reliable is an asset to the grid when the grid really needs it the most. And so renewable assets like wind and solar have a low ELCC metric. And so energy storage in general is really important for pairing with those generation assets to make them reliable. And what we're seeing today is that you need longer and longer durations of that energy storage because peak energy demand is just continuing to rise and rise and rise. We're seeing around the world, electricity demand is rising overall, but in particular, peak demand. So that's, when everything is turning on. Historically, that used to be somewhere between like 4 and 8 p.m., in the evenings when everybody was coming home. That's when peaks were at their highest. We're actually seeing that peaks are getting longer and longer. There's a few different things driving that. I'm happy to get into that, but peaks are extending to longer and longer durations. So we need long duration energy storage to really, as you said, to kind of release that bottleneck.
So
Okay.
I read something where Alvin, your CEO, said that firm and affordable power is on track to win on economics, and that the momentum is not slow regardless of the political climate. Do you feel that confidence in the market right now?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. And so,
Short answer.
yeah, and I love that. And I love that
Yeah.
because I saw that Port Power has a World Economic Forum Pioneer designation, which you also have Monique Ray as your reinsurer. What actually makes a new storage technology bankable? Because brilliant and bankable are two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. So bankability is definitely key here. There's a few things that I think about when it comes to bankability. There's first and foremost is of course cost, right? So affordability is top of mind for our customers. Our customers are utilities, and they're, in addition to serving a reliable grid being their number one priority, they have very limited budgets, right? And in many cases, energy markets are a bit complicated. There's a lot of different business models at hand. But in the case of investor-owned utilities, and I apologize, I should say I'm speaking specifically about the US market here, but they are regulated by public utility commissions, right? So whenever there's a rate increase, it has to get approved, and it's pretty highly scrutinized. So it's all is to say that affordability is really key. And so being able to deliver a solution at a sort of same cost or cheaper than what is being deployed today is really important. They also think about what is the ratio of capex to opex when they're looking at those costs. But regardless, it's got to be an affordable technology. But it's more than just that, right? We also think about from the big picture of like, is this technology bankable? We think about, how scalable is this technology? What does the supply chain look like? What are the dependencies in that supply chain? And what are the risks at hand? How fast can, especially in the case of a new technology such as fourth powers, how fast can we get from our sort of first of a kind economics to our nth of a kind economics? How fast can we go down that cost curve? The last thing that I think is important to think about in the bankability topic is what are the risks at hand? How insurable is this technology? So this comes down to thinking through like what are the worst case scenarios? Go through every single one of those, and what could go wrong, and then what happens next? Who's really impacted by that? How grave is the risk? How big is the impact, and how long does it last? And therefore, kind of how insurable is this asset? Of course, we feel really strongly that we have a technology that checks all those boxes, but it takes a lot. It's not just about having a better technology. It's about having a better technology that can actually be deployed.
And so speaking about the bankability of it, you've spent a lot of time and worked in fundraising, in raising capital, in some of your previous roles, and you're now working and operating in a capital intensive energy space, right? What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you've seen or even faced, like in this role, in attracting investment into long duration energy storage? And where do you see the biggest disconnect between what investors expect and what kind of the reality of the technology is?
Yeah, so I have spent quite a bit of my career in fundraising, in particular within venture capital for a few different types of climate technologies. There's a lot, I would say right now, the biggest challenge for this particular type of technology is actually the term LDES to begin with. So long duration energy storage right now can mean a lot of different things. The industry defines it as really anything that's above, 8, maybe 10 hours. And that's the huge variance, like 10 to 100 to 500 hours. Like that's massive. And there's a lot of different types of technologies that are playing in this space that are trying to solve different problems as well. So when you think about short duration energy storage, for example, so maybe 4 to 6 hour batteries, they're often serving what's considered the arbitrage market. So buying energy, energy when it's low, buying low and selling high. That's not really what our system. That's not where our system thrives. We're serving a different target. And so when we come in and we talk about long duration energy storage, I think there can be a little bit of a misconception of, well, how long are you talking about here, and how do you make money? And if they come in with a perception that's maybe a little bit different than what we believe is the biggest opportunity, you might just find a bit of kind of confusion from the offset.
So in March, MIT covered fourth power technology and described operating at temperature nearly at the heat of the sun, right?
Mm.
And also I saw that fourth power holds the world record for thermophotovoltaic efficiency, which I believe is extraordinary. And kudos to you and the team. But we know that breakthrough in a lab do not automatically become megawatt hours on the grid, right? So what is the biggest gap between the breakthrough technology and the real world deployments?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I kind of go back to this topic of bankability as well, and thinking about like how scalable is the technology, and then what is the company's roadmap from that lab scale demonstration to the field or to the grid. Um, so something that I think really gives us an edge is our strategy behind this. So what was done in the lab was a fully integrated uh, prototype of the system. And what we've done is we've scaled up all of the hardware to its commercially relevant size already. So we've already kind of taken on a lot of those upfront engineering challenges. And we've built a series of test rigs that enable us to test the reliability and durability of those components and of the subsystems of the battery at a commercially relevant scale. And so then from there, we'll be putting all those pieces together into a full scale, fully integrated demonstration. That's what our team is building right now. And so then from there, we can go on and deploy, but we're not actually continuing to scale up or re-engineer any of the parts. It's just assembling more of. The other sort of edge that we have here, when it comes from the breakthrough to the real world deployment, is we something that's sort of fundamentally different is when we think about how we scale up, we're not scaling up a entirely new sort of chemistry where there's a lot of different where sort of the physics can change as you move up. You have to build an entire factory for assembling battery modules. All that we're really doing is sort of our deployment looks like a series of final assemblies and testing and then deployment. So ultimately, our core components, which is graphite and tin, come from really well industrialized supply chains. And so we can kind of take those components, which are already quite mature, and just assemble it into our final system. And that assembly is what's proprietary, not the chemistry itself.
Talking about deployments, I saw that your 1 megawatt per hour system is coming online this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, before it comes online, it goes to the customers. So what changes inside the company at that crossing point?
I'm sorry, can you say that question again, please?
Now, say the demonstration comes online this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is, what changes within an organization when it gets to this crossing point?
What in terms of how the organization is
Yeah,
like comprised?
yeah.
Yeah, so right now our team is we're a small but mighty team. We're about 30 individuals, primarily engineers, primarily design and test engineers. So as we scale up, we will certainly our team will grow quite a bit. As we think about sort of our field operations team, that will certainly be a large extent of our team as well.
Looking forward to that.
Likewise.
Awesome. I want to ask a question about partnerships, right? So partnerships are a huge part of scaling technologies in any space, to be honest. Partnerships with utilities, with governments, industry players. What, in your experience, are some of the things you've learned about structuring partnerships that would actually help accelerate deployment in this space?
Yeah, so I'll say up front, at Fourth Power, we're still a relatively early startup that's working on engaging with these partnerships. But in general, it's a great point. The types of partners that we're seeking tend to be large organizations, governments, industrial players, utilities. They don't tend to move as quickly as startups, and the edge that we have as a startup is that we move really fast. So, I think about starting from a place of having a really deep understanding of who is the stakeholder that we're working with, where do they sit within their organization, what is their job to be done, and kind of what are their incentives and what red tape are they facing? And that information for us can become power, right? So if we can take away that red tape, that can enable us to strike a deal that is in the best interest of both that partner and Fourth Power. So I'm thinking, for example, if we're thinking about where are we going to be, where could we deploy one of our pilot systems? Should we focus on a partner that is maybe able to put in more money up front, but perhaps doesn't have the most ideal site? Or should we focus on a partner that maybe has a site that's more amenable to a technology that's at the stage of a development where we are, but they don't have it would be a lot more effort for them to be able to put in as much money. So that having that understanding of what are our different options and what really matters to us, and then what really matters to the partner, just helps us to prioritize.
So the infrastructure you're building is designed to last decades, right? But the capital markets run on quarterly returns and fund life cycle. How do you hold the line between the urgency climate demands and the patience that infrastructure actually requires?
So yeah, just basically how do we navigate that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, right? What we're finding right now is that the procurements for our types of technology are happening today for deployment, many years from now. So these things do move really slowly. So for us, I think what we're focused on is how do we de-risk and demonstrate our technology to the point where we can submit a competitive uh, response to a request for proposal, and generate that trust that we need to actually deliver, in about five years from now. So that's kind of where our urgency is in de-risking really where it matters. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So my question now, though, is if we're thinking 10 years ahead, what role do you think long duration energy storage will play in global energy systems? And what does success look like for Fourth Power?
Yeah, so I think the next 10 years are a really important decade for long duration energy storage. It's a really important decade for the grid at large. There's a lot of solutions under development right now. I don't think it's a one size fits all. So I think there's going to be a lot of winners will hopefully be surfaced over the course of the next 10 years. But we certainly expect to be among them as a solution that we feel like offers a lot of value at a very low cost for our customers. So for Fourth Power, in 10 years, success will look like having, I would say, dozens of systems, dozens of customer deployments, and ultimately, seeing the system starting to add value to grid. So delivering affordable, reliable power to the grid when it's under its most stress. So this concept of peak power is super important. Certainly doing so safely, doing so affordably, doing so on demand. I also think that, in 10 years, we'll start to see ourselves deploying more around the world as well. And there's huge opportunities around the world. Right now, our team is US based. We're focused on solutions and customer deployments in the US, but there's so much opportunity around the world for just because the attributes of our technology are so flexible. I think there's the opportunity is really endless when we think
Endless.
about global. Yeah.
I love that. Would love to. We're going to be paying attention. Would love to see what that looks like internationally, and for some of us that are not in the US.
All right, thank you so much, Christina. But we always end this podcast by giving our guests their flowers. And I remember seeing that when you announced you were joining Ford Power, you wrote something which was strong. You said, making renewable as dispatchable as fossil fuel power, we've only just begun. And I think that line told me everything about who you are, right? You did not have to choose this. You were a Harvard Business School graduate, a 75 million fundraising track record. I used to boast that I have a 5 million fundraising track record, but I've seen someone who has a 5 million fundraising track record. But you have a career that could have gone anywhere, right? You chose a company that is building batteries that glow white hot because you believe it could change how the world stores energy. And you brought your fundraising instinct to a technology that needed people who could translate science into capital. You brought your communication talent to a story that the world genuinely and urgently needs right now. And you did it when the outcome was far from certain. And so I see that as a conviction, and this transition needs more of it. And so I want to say a very big thank you for the amazing work that you do, and also to let you know that we're rooting for you, we're rooting for Ford Power, and we are going to be watching closely to see the amazing things that comes out of the organization and the impact that it makes. And so on behalf of our listeners from over 100 countries, as Labake's spokesperson, I want to say thank you. And also thank you to your organization for the work.
Thank you so much, Toby. That's so kind of you to say. And thank you as well, Labake. This was such a pleasure to chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. To our listeners, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have enjoyed a generous wealth of knowledge that she shared, and check out Fourth Power. See you next time. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.